What's up, inspiring gamers? I created most of the videos since the start of this channel with a focus on extracting positive life lessons from video game stories and heroes. I'm always interested in learning from different fictional characters, and by understanding their psychology and sharing their wisdom, I believe we can better master our own game of life and become a healthier and more heroic version of ourselves. But you might ask, why not just quit video games completely? Indeed, video games have a highly addictive quality. I've received a comment from an inspiring gamer who would love to know what I think about video game addiction. So in this video, I'll share some of my thoughts about video game addiction and offer some practical strategies on how to turn our love of video games into a spiritual journey and even self-therapy. Before we start, be sure to press that like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. As a millennial, growing up blessed with the abundance of classic video games, we all have experienced being addicted to video games to a certain degree. I spent thousands of hours playing Medal of Honor, Battlefield 1942, Counter-Strike, GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, Splinter Cell, Max Payne, Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed, and too many action-adventure games. I wasn't a big fan of RPGs as I was more into shooters, until I played Witcher 3, Bloodborne and Fallout 4 on PS4. I admit, there was a time I was pretty addicted to playing games, playing over 6 hours a day in my teenage years. As a grown-up man in my 30s, my playing style and perspective as a gamer gradually changed. With family responsibility and work commitments, we can't afford to be a hardcore gamer anymore. To most people, games are mere entertainment, a form of relaxation to unwind from the stress of everyday lives. But to me, games mean much more than that. Great games are an art form that could inspire people. Of course, there are games that would occasionally make me lose track of time and want to stay immersed in the fantasy world, but I try to keep my boundary clear and won't allow gaming to impact my daily life. But many addicted gamers are crazily obsessed with their gaming habits. You must all have heard of a lot of mind-boggling stories of how video game addiction totally ruined a young person's life. Video game addiction is real. Even the World Health Organization included gaming disorder as an official classification of disease in 2018. So why video games can be so addictive? From my experience, a video game can only keep players hooked if they include all the following characteristics. Fun factor: within the first 5 minutes from the start of the game, it must immediately grab the attention of the player and makes him feel that the game is worth his time playing. A great story and character, the charms and virtues of video game characters along with their witty dialogues are what makes a game interesting. Great video game stories also inspired me to start this channel. A sense of incremental progression. Most video games have a well-organized skill tree and level-up system for the character that rewards the player with a feeling of consistent progression. Overall, a good game makes the player anticipate and appreciate the entire journey and almost wish the campaign never ends. Game developers are expert engineers with deliberate intention of inducing dopamine and serotonin to the player's brain. These are the chemicals that stimulate the brain, excite the player, and create a happy feeling that in turn makes us want to repeat the activity of playing over and over. However, by understanding the psychology behind what creates positive emotion in games can be very beneficial to our lives. The truth is, all humans crave for a sense of purpose and improvement. Whatever type of games you love playing, I bet the most enjoyable feeling is accomplishing its quest objectives and seeing improvement in your ability to control the protagonist with mastery of skill to defeat the enemy. Seeing your character level up from nothing to acquiring powerful cool moves and weapons. Finally slaying the boss that destroyed you a dozen times is an incredibly satisfying experience. Many addicted gamers stay happy and satisfied in a fantasy world because they have no real sense of accomplishment in real life. In a fast-changing digital world, it's not easy to maintain our sense of direction, but we must strive to do so, because a sense of direction toward a meaningful goal is what creates meaning and happiness. Like a video game, the journey matters more than the destination. But without a destination to aim for, there is no journey. We can only wander. As I shared in my story video, I drifted back into playing a lot of video games in my late 20s and felt purposeless. Even I was making a comfortable living. This experience made me realize the pursuit of money doesn't bring real fulfillment or happiness. There needs to be a bigger meaning and purpose in life that gets my blood pumping every day. I wandered and could not find my ground, but intuitively I started the journey of reading and searching for the truth. It was the idea of a calling, our life's task, I read in Robert Greene's Mastery that inspired me to start this channel. I was struck by how often Robert came back to the sense of destiny that many of history's greatest heroes felt for their chosen missions. Here's how Greene puts it: at your birth, a seed is planted. That seed is your uniqueness. It wants to grow, transform itself, and flower to its full potential. Your life's task is to bring that seed to flower, to express your uniqueness through your work. You have a destiny to fulfill. The stronger you feel and maintain it as a force, the greater your chance of fulfilling this life's task and achieving mastery. What weakens this force, what makes you not feel it or even doubt its existence, is the degree to which you have succumbed to social pressures to conform. This counterforce can be very powerful. You want to fit into a group. Unconsciously, you might feel that what makes you different is embarrassing or painful. At all costs, you must avoid such a fate. The process of following your life's task all the way to mastery can essentially begin at any point in life. The hidden force within you is always there and ready to be engaged. My inner voice told me, since I loved video games my whole life and found a new love of learning wisdom from philosophers, why not combine these two passions and create something new? If you have ever felt inspired by a purpose or calling, you would know the feeling of the higher spirit working within you. Inspired is the word for inspirited. I felt I touched on something important that other gamers could relate to and started testing the water and make the first videos. I struggled with creating meaningful content. I lacked psychological knowledge and discipline, but I found the words of the founder of analytical psychology, Carl Jung, really spoke to me and discovered his ideas of archetypes, stages of psychic development and individuation fits into many video game stories inspired by mythology. Myths are important to all humans, and they express unconscious ideas in accessible story form. Video games are interactive stories. They contain rich metaphors, images, and symbols that speak directly to the subconscious and shows recurring patterns of thinking that represent typical human experiences. For example, playing as Geralt and Kratos would help us better understand human nature and the archetype of the warrior. In this way, video games connect us to the deeper spiritual level of being with age-old philosophies, giving us a sense of religious experience that's highly therapeutic. If you have a creative calling, playing video games could be a great source of inspiration. Whenever I experience creative blocks, by playing games my thoughts would clarify, and I feel that getting in touch with the true essence of my inner child is part of my spiritual journey of discovering my own myth. Anything that is consumed excessively is bad, but I figured to use games as a platform to share wisdom and life lessons to help us with our game of life might be a positive purpose to fight for. This makes playing games meaningful to me, even in my 30s. Instead of seeing games as a bad influence, we could embrace its positive. To become a player with purpose is to stop consuming video games excessively and mindlessly, to start creating and sharing. It's possible to turn our gaming experience into a spiritual journey if we adopt the right mindset, to constantly ask ourselves, what are the virtues that we can learn from the hero? How could we apply the lessons to our current life situation? Are we willing to find the inner courage of the hero to overcome obstacles in real life? Think about your favorite video game hero. They all have a strong sense of mission and destiny. Model after them, build their mental resilience and discipline, and embark on the path to becoming your true self by mastering your fear and weakness to gain true freedom and dignity as a hero. Just like many stories of video game heroes, the hero almost always experiences a call to adventure. A hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder. Fabulous forces are there encountered and a decisive victory is won. The hero comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow men. This is the standard formula of the mythological adventure of the hero represented in Joseph Campbell's life-changing concept, The Hero's Journey, which inspired many timeless movies and video games. Something beckons the hero to move out of ordinary life. When the call isn't answered, you experience a kind of spiritual death and a sense of life lost. Gamers who refuse their call and retreat to their fantasy world suffer from addiction to numb their pain and anxiety they face in real life. Because to them, real life sucks. Video game worlds are glorious, but no matter how much games they play, the pain's not going away. Playing games as an escape is not a long-term solution. So what's the solution to living a healthy and balanced life as an inspiring gamer and everyday warrior? To know that life is calling and answer your call. Seek to know yourself. Self-knowledge and wisdom will move you in the right path, the path to becoming an artist. In Steven Pressfield's Turning Pro, he expressed, "It's not that big of a difference between an artist and an addict. Many artists are addicts, and vice versa." What's the difference? He explained. The addict is the amateur. The artist is the professional. Both addict and the artist are dealing with the same material, which is the pain of being human and the struggle against self-sabotage. But the addict or amateur and the artist or professional deal with these elements in fundamentally different ways. When we are living as amateurs, we are running away from our calling, meaning our work, our destiny, the obligation to become our truest and highest selves. Addiction becomes a surrogate for our calling. We enact the addiction instead of embracing the calling. Why? Because to follow a calling requires work. It's hard, it hurts. It demands entering the pain zone of effort, risk, and exposure. Addiction implies we could use our fear and resistance as our guide to our calling. The thing that we feel the most fear and resistance is the absolute thing that we should be doing the most. No one can tell what your purpose is but yourself. Wayne Dyer wrote, in the words of Aldous Huxley, "The spiritual journey does not consist in arriving at a new destination where a person gains what he did not have or becomes what he is not. It consists in the dissipation of one's own ignorance concerning one's self and life, and the gradual growth of that understanding which begins the spiritual awakening. The finding of God is coming to one's self." Here's what Campbell thinks of a good and meaningful life. The hero journey is one of the universal patterns through which that radiance shows brightly. What I think is that a good life is one hero journey after another, over and over again. You are called to the realm of adventure. You are called to new horizons. Each time, there is the same problem. Do I dare? And then if you do dare, the dangers are there. And the help also. And the fulfillment or the fiasco. There's always the possibility of a fiasco. But there's also the possibility of bliss. Before wrapping up the video, here are 10 simple and practical strategies that could help gamers gradually alleviate video game addiction. Play one game at a time. When we have too many games installed on our hard drive, we are more prone to distractions, and switching between games frequently makes our brain overstimulated. Sometimes just choosing a game to play for the session becomes an energy-draining decision. By playing and completing one game at a time, we are much more focused and present on one game. We could find deeper enjoyment while immersing in its story, characters, and discovering the secrets and hidden meaning that we could apply to our own life situations. Limit your playtime. If you have an addictive personality, you easily lose track of time and get into the flow of the game. A day could go past quickly. Start keeping track of how many hours you're playing each day and set targets to consciously reduce playtime by 15 to 30 minutes each day until you reach your desired playtime, such as 1.5 hours. Gaming is your reward. Figure out what you want in life, set achievable daily goals, and work towards your calling. For example, if your goal is to become a gaming YouTuber, only allow yourself valuable playtime maybe in the evening. If you get to complete all your daily research, writing, and video editing work during the day. Zen and the art of gaming. As mentioned in my Days Gone video, quality of awareness and presence of mind is a prerequisite for producing quality work. Zen Master teaches do-nothing meditation. The instructions are to simply set a timer, sit down and stop trying to do anything. This is difficult, but we could start with practicing presence while playing games. Fully indulge yourself in the game and appreciate the glorious graphics and scenery without guilt. Let go of any worries, insecurities, or negative thoughts that says that you're wasting your life. There was a saying, all of us could reclaim lost hours of our lives by making everything, the commonplace along with the extraordinary, a part of our practice. Meditate on mortality. You probably experience death every minute in Call of Duty, but never contemplated what it's really like when your life comes to an end. Think deeply on your own death and what you would like to accomplish before your game of life is over. You'll feel a sense of urgency if you do the maths. Even if you are 35 years old, you might only have over 12,000 days left on Earth, or less. Shit happens. Use your anger.
Anger can be a weapon. If you control it, use it.
We all have come across raging gamers in online sessions. Those kids won't shut up and they are really annoying. Angry gamers vent their anger and dissatisfaction in online games because they are envious of the real world, hate themselves and their own petty life. Anger is a powerful emotion. Why not choose to channel it to productive work, real accomplishments, and prove them all wrong? That a gamer can also achieve greatness in real life. Transform love of games into a career. If you can't stop yourself from playing games and haven't discovered any other passion, maybe it's a good idea to start exploring the career options of becoming a professional in the video game industry. You could look into the pathways of studying a course to become a game designer or programmer and aim to make your own video game that sells to 1 million people on Steam one day. Act as if you are the hero. Video games conditioned us to get good with the controller, but it's also possible to advance spiritually and physically in our lives by learning from the way of life of video game warriors. That's the whole point of this channel. Act as if you already are what you would like to become. For example, ask yourself, what would Kratos do in this moment? Then follow his way. All game heroes are great masters in their craft and combat training. Learning and thinking about their rules won't work. We need to start practicing and applying them in our everyday battles in life. Find ways to help others with compassion. One of the most inspiring universal characteristics of all the video game heroes featured on my channel is their selflessness. Like Jin Sakai, the ghost samurai, who thinks lightly of himself and deeply of the world. He embodies the noble qualities endorsed by the samurai warrior. Japanese philosopher Kumasawa also believed the concept of social service is the foundation of warrior culture. He stated, a good warrior is always courageous and deeply devoted to the way of the warrior and martial arts. He takes care not to stumble no matter what happens, respect his ruler, shows compassion to everyone from his wife and children to the old and young all over the world, and prefers peace in the world from a humane and loving heart. We all admire our favorite video game hero, but don't forget, we all have an inner hero too. My mission is worth nothing without the appreciation of like-minded gamers. My passion is sharing video game wisdom and awaken the inner hero of gamers around the world. What's yours? Feel free to share your story of how you overcame video game addiction to inspire other gamers. Comment down below which video game hero you wish to learn from in the future videos. The best antidote to video game addiction is courage to action. Decide to decide. And when you act, do so with the full force of your being. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy. Second-guessing yourself is a form of addiction to self-sabotage. I would like to end this video with the words from one of my favorite writers, Ryan Holiday. Courage is the management of and triumph over fear. It's the decision in a moment of peril or day in and day out to take ownership, to assert agency over a situation, over yourself, over the fact that everyone else has resigned themselves to. We can curse the darkness, or we can light a candle. We can wait for someone else to come and save us, or we can decide to stand and deliver ourselves. Which will it be? Every hero faces this choice, the critical turning point, the moment of truth. Will you be brave? Will you put yourself out there? What will you reveal your character to be? If cowardice is failure to do your duty, then courage is the decision to step up and do it. Answering the call, overriding fear, and seizing your destiny. Doing the thing you cannot do because it needs to be done. With fortitude and spirit, guts and grit. Even if you have no idea if you will succeed, this will not be easy, but we cannot fear. We must, as Shakespeare said, meet the time as it seeks us. Our destiny is here. Let's seize it.